Kikita Matata. Diesen Spruch sage ich gern. Kikita Makata.
Gilt stets als modern.
Das reicht die so gern.
Herzlich willkommen in der Welt der interaktiven Geschichten. Ich bin Kiki und das ist mein heutiger Gast.
Gabriel.
Ach, du auch?
Ja.
Ja, er ist jetzt gegelt und geschniegelt. Ah, jetzt. Jetzt nicht mehr. Das reicht.
Ja.
Nein, also man würde sich ja selbst verraten, wenn wir so durch die Stadt laufen würden. Also, Folgendes. Man hat uns ja hier was gesagt von wegen Polizei, ne?
Verdächtiger ist da, ne?
Richtig. Die Nachricht war von Mosley, dass er jemanden verhören muss, ob wir dabei sein möchten. Natürlich wollen wir.
Ja, wenn das komischerweise legal ist, dann machen wir das.
Los geht's. Wir marschieren mal einfach so rein. Man kennt uns ja. Ne?
Gucken uns den Spiegel an.
Genau. Ganz wichtig. Oh. Ha.
You son of... Give me back my badge.
Ah.
Now,
Deswegen.
Sure. Thanks for letting me borrow it.
Yeah? You borrowed again in your history. Now, about today. Glad you made it. It'll give you a feel for how I am in action, you know.
Ah, das war also nicht nur ein Vorwand.
Ah, deswegen.
I'm sure it'll be invigorating. Who is this guy anyway?
Calls himself Crash. He's been an informant for us before, mostly helping us bust small-time pimps and dealers trying to break into the territory.
Okay.
Well, he's been staying invisible during these murders, but we picked him up this morning at Jackson Square. Pushing code. He knows something. Call it detective's instinct.
Mhm.
Detective's instinct. Got it.
Ach so, wir haben hier.
All right, Crash. I want to hear about these murders. You been present at the so-called voodoo ritual?
I don't know nothing. I told you.
Come on now, you can tell me. Do you know anyone who's been to these rituals?
Look. I can't say nothing.
Voll hektisch.
You gotta let me go, man.
Now, you relax. No one knows you're here. The men who picked you up were plainclothesmen.
Plain clothes. Like you could fool them. They know I'm here. They've got ears all over the city. They know everything.
Now, who are they, Crash? Are they the ones doing the murders?
Let me go.
If you're so worried about being detained, start talking. Now, you tell me what I want to hear, and maybe I can get you in the witness protection program. But you have to earn it.
Ah,
Witness protection. Are you crazy? Don't make me laugh. Jesus, just let me out of here.
Now, come on. Who's behind these murders, Crash? Why are the victims all members of the underworld?
By now they know I'm here.
Eh.
I mean, it's different when I'm supposed to come here. Or if I can send a message. Tell them I didn't say nothing.
Christ, he's freaking useless. Take him back to detaining, would you, Tony?
der überlebt dann nicht. He's next. Achso, wir haben hier was aus Finnland. Sukla Patuka.
I tell you, times like
Clara
this, I kill
Verrat.
for truth, sir. Damn.
Klatu
civil
Verata
rights.
nicht.
Meine ich
Can I
auch.
quote you on that?
Hell no. Damn. You only keep him for 24 hours. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna have to let him go. Sorry it wasn't more exciting. For the book I made. Maybe you can punch it up some. You know, what do they call that? Fiction. That's it.
It certainly is. I'll see what I can do.
Gelee mit Schokolade drum.
Ja.
Okay. Fragen wir ihn nochmal.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Stand der Dinge.
Genau.
What's the status on the voodoo murders case?
It sure as hell ain't going well. There's a lot of brakes being applied in different areas of the investigation. We're getting some real info on the victims now, and they're not exactly upstanding citizens.
Okay.
I was hoping to get more out of Crash, but he's scared shitless. We'll have to let him go tomorrow morning.
Noch was?
What's the status on the Voodoo Murders case?
I told you, it's going for shit.
Tja, dann nicht. Tschüss. Danke, dass wir dabei sein durften.
Tja.
Viel Glück.
The suit doesn't open.
Ah.
Aber die Tür.
Ja. Die wollen wir doch immer öffnen.
richtig
Ja.
I'm gonna
pixeln.
hit the road.
Ja, das ist das immer,
Ciao,
ne?
baby.
Ciao, Baby. Dann gehen wir mal hier raus. Ja. Crash wird es vielleicht nicht mehr lange geben. Könnte ich mir vorstellen. Das war schon sehr verdächtig, so ein random Typ, der Angst hat vor...
Ja.
Ne? So, jetzt... nee, das ist das Museum. Hier, Drugstore.
Tja, sehen gleich aus. Also,
Ja,
sind beide im Voodoo-Ding.
irgendwie, ja. Okay. So,
Yo.
ich möchte...
Hi.
Hi.
Uh-huh.
Ich möchte das hier.
There is not
Ich möchte das.
to get the mask, Gabriel would
Dann frag ihn hier.
Can I
Whatever,
ask you
man.
just a few more questions? Whatever, man.
Willie Jr.
Are you still interested in selling that
Stimmt, so hieß der.
crocodile mask?
Or you show me $100 and the mask is yours.
Also ja.
Dann musst du ihn.
Dann lassen wir das Geld sprechen. So
So.
soll das sein. Also.
So ist das hier.
Ne.
In der Hütte. New Orleans.
I have $100. You still want to sell that crocodile mask?
That's $100, sure enough. The mask, it's yours, sir.
Fein. Dann nehmen wir uns das selbst. Oder so. Ach nee, er holt uns die. Sehr schön.
Service.
Service, genau. Sollen wir die gleich aufsetzen?
Here you go. Careful it don't bite you now.
Haha.
Yeah, thanks.
Erstmal unter den Mantel.
Don't you go forgetting your lagniappe. A free bottle of Master Gambling Oil.
Was?
The sign said I could get Lady Luck oil instead.
Well,
Das
I
tu doch
wasn't
nicht
thinking a
nötig,
man as young as
Gabriel.
you would be needing that kind of remedy. But if you having problems with your
Oh, that's all right. Believe me, I don't need it. I'll just stick with this. Thanks, anyway.
ja. Ist okay.
Of course, it ain't none of my business if you do need it.
I don't need it.
Of course you don't.
No? Dieses Glücksöl. Wir waren schon lange nicht mehr in dieser
Beim
Bar.
Schachspieler, ne?
Ne? Da gehen wir
Hab ich
doch
auch
mal ganz fix hin. Wir wollen doch hier ein bisschen nachhelfen.
McLaughlin's Club.
Wo ist das denn hier? War das das? War das die Bar? Ja, oder? Hieß doch so.
Das ist ein komischer Name.
Ja, war aber so. Okay. So. Und jetzt
Glück.
Glück. Das hier, ne?
Ganz viel Glück.
Ja. Wo muss das denn rein? Muss das hier rein oder da rein?
Does this mean anything to you?
Yeah, get away from me with her, will you?
Er braucht Glück.
Sam, it's about your game.
Das kurz
I
verwechselt.
don't have a game. That's my problem. Don't you touch those chess pieces while I'm gone, you bastard. I ain't never needed a cheat yet, you loser.
Erstmal die
Thought
Drogen
you might be
verticken.
interested in this gambling oil.
Let me see that. Master Gambling Oil. What's it for?
Don't you ever wonder why Marcus wins every time?
Get out of here. Marcus would never use something like this.
Och.
Well, if that's what you want to believe. This is a powerful voodoo oil.
Ah, go on. Really?
Ja.
Ja.
This voodoo oil could make a nun get lucky.
Moment.
Really works, huh?
I'd stake my reputation as a novelist on it.
Welcher Ruf?
And you say Marcus uses this. That explains a lot.
Mhm.
Let me see that bottle. Oh, this looks authentic.
Oh, it is.
If I could really beat that bastard. Stonewall, give me a Pim's cup, would you?
Coming up, Sam.
How much you think I'd have put in?
Och.
Careful. You don't want to overdo it. Too much luck can be dangerous.
Ha! There's no such thing as too much. Now stand back.
Ne.
Come on already. I'm ready to chat, mate.
We'll see about that, Mr. Schmuddy Big Mouth.
Oha. Jetzt bin ich ja mal gespannt. Aha. Es wirkt.
Checkmate, you bastard.
Oh,
Son of a bitch.
20 years I've been waiting to say that.
20.
Checkmate, checkmate, checkmate.
Ach so, und er weiß eine Menge über Voodoo, glaube ich. Der war aber nur bereit, irgendwas zu erzählen, wenn der mal gewinnt, ne? So war das?
aha.
Weiß ich gar nicht mehr.
Ja, kann sein.
Aaron, just put this chessboard where the sun don't shine.
Das ist ein Deutsch.
Voll einen guten Gewinner. So, ne?
Ja, total.
Sportlich.
Sehr.
Nice game.
Nice game. Hell, I was brilliant. Of course, I gotta give some of the credit to that oil of yours.
Ja.
I've been losing to that guy for 20 years. If you ever need a favor, you come to Sam. You hear?
Darauf kommen wir sicherlich
Will do.
zurück.
Ja.
Und zwar jetzt. Erzähl mir doch mal was.
Can I ask you some questions now?
Look, I'd be glad to help you out, but I've been stuck in this bot too long to know much about anything.
So, how do you feel now?
Couldn't be better.
Kann er uns irgendwas Spannendes erzählen über irgendwas? Ha.
Does this mean anything to you?
Not
Also.
really.
So eine Antwort von einer Leiche.
Ja. Mm.
Und das ist mein Opa.
Does this mean anything to you?
Not really.
Okay. Was war das denn hier? Ich vergesse immer was. Also,
The letter is
okay.
written in German. It was sent from a place called Schloss. The letter is addressed to mein Sohn Heinz and signed Wilhelm Ritter. One of the reoccurring...
Ja, das hast du schon mal.
Ja, ja, das hatten wir schon mal.
The only thing that Gabriel...
Okay. Ah, hier, das hier vielleicht.
Genau.
Does this mean anything to you?
Not really.
Okay. Ich weiß nicht, irgendwas muss er uns
Ja,
doch...
vielleicht hast du noch nicht.
Ja, vielleicht.
Does this mean anything to you?
Not really.
Okay. War ja nur ein Versuch. Aber du bist uns was schuldig.
Ja, das muss jetzt.
Ja, okay. Fein, dann kommen wir eben später wieder. Pff. Na. Aber es ist immer gut, wenn jemandem einen Gefallen schuldet.
Geh nur mal zu anderen New Orleans, weil irgendwo muss da eine Universität sein.
Stimmt.
Wo du...
Ja.
Ja.
Ist sie. Da ist sie.
Wo jetzt eine...
It looks like the lecture is just starting. Gabriel decides to record the session.
Gute Idee.
Voodoo is the tribal religion of Africa. But the name Voodoo is actually a banner heading under which resides an entire body of distinct tribal belief systems. The word voodoo may sound familiar to you. What is known in the States as voodoo is actually an amalgamation of African religious systems, voodoo, and European religions, primarily Catholicism. All of the subcults of African voodoo have certain things in common. The most important is the worship of a pantheon of spirits instead of the single deity that the Christian and Muslim systems have. Some of these spirits are elementals. Some relate to specific tasks or places. Some represent important tribal leaders who have died. This spirit worship is what makes voodoo so easily adaptable. With all those spirits, it's no problem to add a few more. Say, for example, the Virgin Mary. At the height of tribal Africa, warfare was common. The one tribe would conquer another, and the Loa, important in the conqueror's tribal system, would be adopted readily into the conquered tribe's Loa pantheon. In this way, many of the voodoo cults spread and mingled throughout tribal Africa, enriching the belief system and causing innumerable offshoots. The basis for the voodoo religion seems to be as old as man himself. It has much in common with many early pagan practices: animal totems, sympathetic magic, elemental spirits in the trees, the heavens, the bodies of the sick. Africa is believed by many to be the cradle of the human race. Some of the voodoo Loa may be as old as the Garden of Eden itself. We still can't explain some of the real power of these primal religions. And note, I said primal, not primitive. There are African Bokors who baffle our scientists with their supernatural powers. Now, let's discuss the elements of voodoo.
Fascinating, guys.
Oh nein.
In voodoo,
Ist nicht mal 5 Minuten da.
the Loa. During a voodoo ceremony, celebrants are possessed by the Loa, and this is called being ridden. The human worshipper is seen as a horse, and the Loa as the divine horseman. A person being ridden by a Loa takes on the characteristics of that spirit and becomes, in effect, merely a vessel for the more powerful entity. Some of the older original Africa Loa include Dambala, the great serpent god, Ezruli, the mistress of love, Papa Nebo, or Gede, the lord of death, Agwe, the spirit of water, Legba, spirit of the crossroads, and the cruelest and most dangerous, Ogun Badagri, the lord of destruction.
Gabriel, bitte.
Tribe-specific Loa can have as much or more power as the more widely worshipped Loa. For instance, a particular tribe might revere highly the Loa of an ancestor who was a legendary hunter or politician. Voodoo temples are called Haunfors. Their priests, Hangun or Bokors. Their priestesses, Mama Loa. In a voodoo Haunfor, there's a ritual circle marked by a center pole called a poto mitan. The ritual circle is prepared with a vele, a pattern of symbols. Each tribe's
Jamal hat gesagt, unsere Muster ist
of complex symbols that identify their special Loa. During ritual conclaves, initiates dance under the supervision of a Bokor and a Mama Loa, or head priestess. The use of totems or animal masks and markings was not uncommon in the original African ceremonies. Now, though, all but the oldest sects have abandoned this practice.
Ja, sowas haben wir halt.
Ritual objects used during the conclaves include the ritual gourd or asson.
Oh, davon haben wir geträumt.
Or kubasa.
That knife gives me the chills.
The ritual whip, or fouet cash.
Ja, wollte ich sagen. So haben die das benannt.
Seke madule. These items are often optional, called for by the Mama Loa for specific magical rituals. The Mama Loa is the most powerful figure in any voodoo sect. Voodoo is a truly matriarchal system. Even the Bokor knows his power is limited. The Mama Loa is the supreme woman. She
Klingt so wie eine Puffmutter.
butterflies, fireflies.
Oh, Gabriel, bitte. Der hat Matriarchat gehört und ist eingepennt.
Ja, geht gar nicht.
Nee.
Firelight. No, what is it? Gabriel? What? I can't see. Gabriel, get in. Can't. It's too small for me.
Huh?
You
What?
must get in, Gabriel. It's not mine. Too small. Hide, Gabriel. Hide. No, no. Let me out. Help.
Young man, the next...
Oh mein.
Oh my
Peinliche
God.
Sache,
Sorry.
das.
Who?
Hallöchen.
Geht dem Professor hinterher, nicht die Frau.
Ja, ich wollte mich nur in Gabriels
Die
Charakter einfühlen.
Prioritäten hier.
Are you a student?
No. My name is Knight. Gabriel Knight.
Well, you have walked into my
Yeah.
private office, Mr. Knight. I hope you have something worthwhile to do here. If you figure it out, let me know.
Ja, ich befrag dich jetzt einfach mal, Professor.
Der Professor.
Ja.
Mind if I pick your brain?
Not if it will get you out of my office.
Jo. Schon gut.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Alles.
Ah,
You already sat through my lecture on the subject, Mr. Knight. Perhaps next time you could stay awake and learn something.
ja.
Na dann.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I've read about them in the papers. I must admit to some interest. But according to the newspapers, the voodoo aspect is faked, so I haven't really pursued it. You know how Americans, especially Hollywood,
Tja.
treats voodoo. I'm sure there are many so-called practitioners out there that have no idea what they're doing or the power they're playing with.
Auch sehr intens, der Professor, ne?
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
As I said, I don't know anything but what the papers say. According to them, there's no reason for me to be interested.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I find it interesting to see the occasional fragment of voodoo practices in the everyday culture of New Orleans.
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
The Catholic Church has always dominated in New Orleans, and its imagery, in turn, has dominated New Orleans voodoo.
Noch
What
was?
else can you tell me about New Orleans?
If there's more you wish to know, perhaps you should read.
Ui, der ist so ein bisschen angepisst auch, ne?
Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm not a zoologist, Mr. Knight, but I know all I care to about reptiles.
Noch was?
Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm not a zoologist.
Okay.
What can you tell me about St. John's
Eve.
It's June 23rd, the feast day of St. John the Baptist. The June 23rd has been a sacred day since the
Zum Beispiel
earliest times.
Sommersonnenwende und so.
Ancient sun worshippers used to roll a flaming wheel down a hill
Ah.
to celebrate the sun's descent
Siehste.
on that day.
A burning wheel. Huh. What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I'm not in the habit of repeating myself tonight.
Ui. So,
Do you have any idea
Das musst du doch
what
jetzt
Caprice
wissen.
Encore means?
Cabri-Sancourt. Yes, I do. It's a Haitian term, I believe. It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
As in a female goat?
No, as in a human sacrifice. Sacrifices in voodoo are usually of the animal variety.
ui.
Chickens, wolves, goats. If the gods demand a goat without horns, it means a human being.
Ups.
Wisst ihr eigentlich noch, in welcher Situation der eine das gesagt hat?
Nee.
Meinte er uns oder so? Weil aus irgendeinem Grund hat er das gesagt.
Ja,
ne?
ich weiß auch gar nicht.
Eieiei.
What was that translation for Caprice?
Naja, das...
I'm not in the
Naja, gut. Das wissen wir jetzt schon.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
While I find the colloquial bastardizations of voodoo somewhat interesting from a sheerly intellectual point of view, there's not a lot of relation between people like Laveau and true voodoo practices.
Ach so. Gut.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
As I said in my lecture, which I assume you actually listened to, is that animal masks and totems are used extensively in most African voodoo religions.
Und noch was?
Do you know anything about animal masks?
I'm not in the habit.
Ja.
Tell me about bebés.
If you'd taken notes during my lecture, you
no.
would have to ask.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
I'm afraid I can't help you there, Mr. Knight.
Mhm.
Tell me about yourself.
All right, Mr. Knight, I'm 35,
Ooh.
a fully tenured professor at this university, as well as a fellow at Cambridge. My doctorate was obtained at Syracuse. Yes.
Die sieht aber älter aus
in
als
religion.
35.
Ja, könnte 55 sein.
Agnostic, but I find human belief systems fascinating. I specialize in African religions because I grew up there. My father was a Protestant missionary. And I am heterosexual when I practice sex at all,
What?
which isn't very often.
Danke für die.
No.
Fine.
Das war mehr, als wir wissen wollten. Deutlich mehr. Deswegen sieht er so alt aus. Ja, gut.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
It's, very
Weil der so viel rumgekommen ist.
Ah,
Practices do not include
oder eher nicht.
sacrifices as a record, but it is theoretically possible if that's the gods' demand. For example, one of the chants I had translated for me from a Haitian ritual went like this. Mistress Azuli, come and aid us. If a cock is demanded, we will give it. If a bull will suffice, behold it. But if a goat without horns is required for sacrifice, or where will we find one? Azuli is the gentlest of Loa, so they call on her for mercy. But I have seen grown and powerful Hungan tremble before a possession by one of the more violent Loa, such as Abonnieren. Clearly, they are afraid that something of the sort will be ordered, or that the Loa will simply take it for themselves.
Oh.
Wow.
Cool.
Tell me more about...
I wouldn't dwell on it. Most voodoo sects probably haven't seen a human sacrifice for several generations.
Noch was?
Tell me more.
I wouldn't dwell on it. Most...
Ja, interessant. Haben wir eigentlich noch irgendwelche Zeichnungen? Nee, die haben wir alle abgegeben.
Ja, die kannst du sogar abholen.
Ja?
Der hat gestern gesagt.
Ah, stimmt, jetzt ist ja morgen, ne?
Ja, weil
Dr.
es ist nicht mehr
Hartridge's
gestern.
desk is
Ja, genau.
remarkably neat, especially considering the rest of the room. The squatter grins maliciously at Gabriel. It's an enormous stone head. The door leads back to the
Nein, ich
lecture
meine
hall.
hier das Ding hier.
A round
Ja.
pottery vessel hangs from the ceiling.
Okay, Globus.
An old globe sits atop Hartridge's file cabinet. The carved stone head looks African and very old. That mask is quite hideous. It's Hartridge's file cabinet. Dr. Hartridge's office is crowded with masks, carved figures, and strange objects. Dr.
Jo.
The shelves behind.
Okay, alte Bücher.
The shelves behind.
Okay, verstehe. Dann auf Wiedersehen, da kommen wir nachher wieder.
Gabriel,
Jetzt. Geh.
Hatte da eine Pinnwand
Okay,
gesehen.
thanks.
Vielleicht
Ja,
ist sie
im
wichtig.
Vorlesungsraum, ja.
Gabriel scans the bulletin board. Greek night at the Alpha Psi Omega frat house. It looks like it took place sometime last spring.
Noch was?
Gabriel scans the bulletin board. There's a notice for a lecture on investigative reporting techniques to be given by octogenarian Pulitzer Prize winner Laura Bo Dorian. Unfortunately, it's weeks away. By that time, Gabriel will have to have learned on his own.
Okay.
Gabriel scans the bulletin board. Need a ride to LA the last weekend in August.
I wouldn't go there if you paid me.
Gabriel scans the bulletin board. Work out of your home and make up to $2,000 a week in your spare time.
6, 7, 8, 9. Ja, das kann ich.
555 6789.
Okay.
I actually called them once. You sell cat food over the phone.
6, 7, 8,
Gabriel
9.
scans the bulletin board. Ha! We'll do algebra or biology homework for food.
Voll gehässig. Why? Okay. Gut.
Ein Park.
Ja. Genau. Da würden wir doch gerne mal... Warum muss man immer den ganzen Park durchqueren? Obwohl, eigentlich kann man vielleicht auch hier oben. Muss man nicht sich alle Künstler anhören, ne? Dumbledore.
Ja. So wie Dumbledore, Bruno Marx und Marty McFly.
So ungefähr. Ah, da ist der schon. Und...
Jonglier ist auch neu.
Weißt du? Wir laufen einfach durch den durch.
Hey, I'll ask the questions around here.
Was?
Hä?
Steckt er fest, da?
That wouldn't be particular.
Boah, ich dachte für eine Sekunde.
Ja, das wäre nicht so gut.
Vorsicht mit Rocky. Kiki, aber du kannst nicht einfach durch alle Leute durchlaufen. Dann steckst du fest.
Ja, aber der Rocky rennt wenigstens.
The artist is an able draftsman, but interrogating him...
How's it going today?
What? Oh, it's only you. Man, I have been jumpy all day. That pattern of yours really freaked me out for some reason. There's just something creepy.
You finished it?
Yeah, and you're welcome to it.
Cool.
Here.
Wow, this is great.
Yay.
Uh-huh. Just don't, like, blow up the planet with it or something, okay?
I didn't mean to upset you.
Oh, forget it. I'm probably just being stupid. Do your thing with it and good luck.
Bling, 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 bling.
Viel Glück. Na gut.
Ja, guck's dir an.
Ja.
Ah.
Gut. Da ist
Oh,
das, sieht
was?
aus wie eine Zielscheibe.
Ja, voll krass, ne?
Ach so,
Ach so,
jetzt
na
sieht's.
Hä?
Okay.
The artist's reconstruction of the voodoo murders pattern looks accurate to Gabriel. Something about it seems vaguely familiar and creepy.
Creepy, ja.
Friedhof
durchaus.
vielleicht?
Vielleicht, ja.
Da hat der einer irgendwelche Graffitis da mit Ziegelsteine gemacht.
Genau. Ja, an irgendeine Wand war da irgendwas gemalt, gekritzelt. Schauen wir mal. Sonst fragen wir den Professor.
Der
Der
könnte
mag
es auch
uns.
wissen.
Lauf, Gabriel.
Der Moonwalk so
Ja,
seitlich dahin.
ernsthaft. Ja, vielleicht ist die Wiese ja rutschig. So,
Ist das diese Rakete da oben?
die Rakete.
Ganz oben.
Ach ja. Ich denke mal, das hat was mit Kirche, aber nein, das ist ja der Friedhof. Ah ja. Richtig. Mhm. Können wir das hier damit benutzen?
Using that on the tomb wall won't help.
Okay.
Vielleicht so?
Using that on...
Na. Hilft uns das irgendwie? Ich weiß nicht genau.
Du hast es schon notiert, ne?
Was habe ich notiert?
Hast du das schon mal abnotiert? So abgemalt in deinem Buch?
Weiß ich nicht. Ah, nee, habe ich nicht.
I want a copy of those strange marks.
Okay. Aha. Und kann man das jetzt irgendwie miteinander kombinieren oder geht das nicht? so, das ist die Kopie?
Those two objects.
Okay, aber... Ja. Na denn?
Those two
Dann geht das wohl nicht. Gut, dann fragen wir halt Professorchen.
Oder bevor du gehst, kannst du gucken, ob es noch mehr gibt da rechts?
Geh. Weiter. Boah, Gabriel, echt. Was geht der?
Ich muss erwarten, dass er... Also.
Geh. Mann! Ja, aber hier ist...
Weiter.
Hier geht's weiter. Waren wir überhaupt schon mal so weit hier auf dem Friedhof? Nee, waren wir nicht. Hä? Oh! Miss Getty.
Malia.
Mr. Knight, what are you doing here?
My family's tomb is here.
Mine too.
Ja, steht ja drauf, ne?
I noticed. Subtle.
Well, Mr. Knight, if there's nothing else.
Don't go. I need to talk to you.
Ui.
Whatever for.
I can't stop thinking
Oh,
about you.
wei.
I've been in your thoughts too.
Oh, come on.
Mr. Knight, you don't know anything about me. I'm not in a position to get involved.
I've said that a million times myself,
So.
but this is different. I think we both know we can't fight it. Oh, I can't believe I'm
Ja,
saying
ich glaub's
this.
auch nicht.
I have so many obligations. My family is very traditional. You wouldn't understand.
Hey, I love tradition. I've seen Fiddler on the Roof 100 times.
This isn't a musical, Mr. Knight. We live in different worlds.
Look, I know you've got more money than God. Do you think I care?
Mich stört das gar nicht.
Nee, ist klar.
Why don't you come see my
Oh,
work? I
weia.
have a little bookshop, St. George's on Bourbon.
I know.
Oh.
See, I knew it. You're crazy about me, too.
Lass sie doch mal los. Du bist so creepy.
My world isn't so bad.
I'm sorry, but there's no place for someone like you in my life. Not now, not ever.
Genau, renn. Renn.
Mann.
Feier.
Werden wir diese Frau jemals wiedersehen?
Und was hat sie da im Grab gemacht?
Wann stehen wir vor Gericht wegen sexueller Belästigung?
Das und vieles
sehen wir.
mehr. Sehen wir in der nächsten Folge.